Und dann sind wir live. Ja, es ist wieder Mittwoch, 19 Uhr bei Games und XA Mitteldeutschland. Wir haben den Tech Summer und gehen unsere Game Engines natürlich durch. Und heute haben wir auch wieder einen speziellen Gast, nämlich Wojciech Figat. Und er ist einer der Main Developer von der Flax Engine. Dementsprechend werde ich jetzt natürlich auch gleich die Sprache wieder wechseln und auf Englisch ihn vorstellen oder beziehungsweise er wird sich selber vorstellen. Wojciech, welcome.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Perhaps we will start with the normal things, just a little introduction that you give us, and then we just go through all your stages, how you become a developer, how do you see the scene is developing, how do you get feedback for your engine, and what are your plans for the future. So it's your stage.
Okay, so actually it all started like for the Flax Engine many years ago, like something around 10 years ago. That was like very hobby project when I was starting to learn programming and stuff like that. And eventually it evolved into something bigger, and now it's true mature commercial product. So it went through many years, and it's like great pleasure to develop such a technology.
Yeah, thank you that you developed these technologies that we can develop games and worlds and all that stuff. But perhaps you can tell us a little bit about your background. You said that you had the idea 10 years ago. What was your life looking like 10 years ago? So were you studying, or were you, I don't know, broke anywhere and you had to do something, or?
I've always been interested in games, not only for playing them, but also like modding, and I got interested very early in this particular thing. And but I think the major moment was when I started IT studies around 7 years ago. And very early I joined the game dev community on my university there. It's called Polygon, and very quickly became kind of my home for from post-study stuff. And it also like got me very quickly first game dev job as a programmer. And basically that's where it all started to roll. I was involved in making games. Firstly, it was mostly mobile games made in Unity. But over the time, I like worked on my career, and it's all been in game dev right now, and it's like quite many years right now.
Okay, so you're working part-time as a game developer, or you're full on the Flax Engine, or how can we see that?
It's like Game Engine is for now. It's a part-time project developed by like major chunk of time, but I still work as a game developer and been doing this for past over 7 years.
Okay, so perhaps you can give us a little background about your graduation path. So you did your bachelor's and then you did your master's, and
Yes.
then you got into this meetup, or how does it turn out?
Yes, I did the bachelor in IT, information technology, here in Warsaw, and then I started the management studies for like a master degree, and now I'm about to close this part and be also a postgraduate. This is also the mixture of having the technical background, but also like the soft skills related for the business, for the project, really helps to maintain the stability and the future of the product.
Yeah, I can see that. So perhaps for people who are not knowing what the Flax Engine is, you can give a short introduction and your role, and perhaps also the surrounding, because I think a lot of people are contributing to this engine. And just give us a little insight about the organizational structure.
Flax Engine is a multi-platform 3D game engine that has been in development for many years right now. it's started, as I said, as a hobby project, as a side thing, but over the time it evolved into something more stable, more mature, and also since recently the commercial product, as it's available right now, and it's all started by the need of something better than the others like Unity, Unreal, or Godot, or CryEngine at that time. So when I was working in game dev industry, I noticed like lots of stuff that would be better to have in such a game engine that is usually used commonly in a games production. So this need evolve into something like this Flax Engine, which contains lots of stuff from ideas not only from my side but also from other colleagues from work, that will like good to have something in the engine like this. So it's been driven by the needs of people who want to create the games.
Okay.
And one thing to note is like the vision for the project is to really focus on agile game development and bring the tools that promote making games faster. Like I remember participating many times in game jams, especially when doing the bachelor studies, and the idea of making game within several hours, it's just the pure moment when you realize that some tools could work faster, something could be easier, and if you try to transfer lots of this experience into real world when normal game production kicks in, sometimes it's stuck into wall. So Flax tries to bring more agile, more slim development into games.
Okay, so you just want to work on your creativity and less on the technical problems to solve. But yeah, what is your main role and how many people are currently working on the project?
So I am a founder of the product and working currently as a lead developer. But right now we are a team of 5 developers working actively on the engine. And this Flax team is surrounded by lots of community members, and especially since the last year release, we've got pretty enormous amount of contributors. Over like 30 people contributed to the project, and the community is growing very rapidly. So right now, because the engine is open to the access to the public, and also the engine source, it's very easy and quite common thing for people to contribute to the project, not only by the team internally, but also by the users.
Okay, so it's an open innovation concept that you live in there.
Mm-hmm.
But what is your main target audience, I would say? Is it the indie developers, or are you really aiming at that you can get into the Unity sphere or something bigger?
So our main target audience was like small/medium-sized game dev teams. Basically anything from 1 person to 50 people team, something like this. And those teams have a really nice agile workflow, and usually are more able to adapt new technologies or try to use something new, because like for the bigger corporations or AAA studios, it's harder to adapt a new technology, and especially for the game engine, which is quite complex tech stack. So we target a smaller audience that is eager to try something new, and usually needs something that works just better and doesn't have to customize it. And basically that's our audience. We also target indie developers, especially for our portfolio from Flax. We have lots of tools, and we have open source repository which gives really nice attention for those.
Okay, that definitely sounds nice for all the indies out there. So perhaps we can talk about some numbers. So how many people are using it already, and have you any plans in the future that you get performance better, or what's your target user base?
Since the release 1.0 version back in December last year, we've got something over 10,000 Flax users, people who tried Flax and use it for a significant amount of time, which is very great for us, especially we're a very young community and new product. And right now, after almost a year, we have a stable several hundred weekly users, which transfers into already several shipped small projects and a few serious games in production. So I would say we have very nice numbers in terms of amount of people that tried Flax, but also we have many games in production for such a young project. So as a part of Flax team, we are really happy that we have so many games in production right now.
Yeah, it sounds really nice, and it's also interesting. What I'm interested in as well, how is the communication between the developers and you as a engine developer? So is there, because you're always talking about the agile development environment that you want to create, so because you said in the beginning, okay, I came up with ideas and problems that I want to solve. Is that also the way that the developers are coming to you? Like, okay, this is really good, but can you make it easier that way?
So basically, we have a few options to communicate with community and users. We have, of course, the forum, which is steadily growing. We have more and more questions there, and we try to very actively answer any questions. But I think the main core is our Discord channel, which has like now 1,500 users and very lots, like big chunk of active users there, and whole developers team and most of the contributors are there, and it's quite common thing for us and also the Flax users to ping someone from developers to find some help. And I would say that's a kind of advantage of Flax, and we are trying to also do it as our selling point, because we are not only trying to be a big engine like Unity and Unreal, but we want to keep our roots where we listen to the community, like for instance Godot engine, which is open engine. We really do want to put lots of attention and time into listening community and providing great tools for our users.
Yeah, I think that's also very important, because you praise the Agile manifesto, so you need to be open for that. So perhaps when we talk about the competition that you already have mentioned, so why should I use Flax instead of others in the market? Or do you really think in competition, or do you think in cooperation in a way?
That's a good question. I would say from the business point of view, the best selling point of Flax is like we try to give the best performance for the development, not only for the game, but also how the game is created. I believe nowadays games are getting pretty big, and from the time of initial idea to the prototype that works, that for instance game devs can show to the investors, this time has to be quite short. So we want to have tools that are making this possible. So Flax tries to do as much as it can and reduce the amount of problems that usually people stuck with Unreal and Unity, and the whole agile development got lost there. So our Flax editor and also like other tools are trying to reach the point where when the game developer doesn't have to fight against the editor, has all the tools and can work very, very smoothly in this. We have also pretty nice scripting setup, because we don't have only C++ like Unreal, but we have also C# scripting like Unity has, and visual scripting. And the combination of those two is quite seamless and kind of enables developers to make games even faster. One thing that many people forget is about when you run a game dev company, you have to hire people, and sometimes it's easier to hire C++ developer, sometimes it's easier to hire C# developer for Unity. And Flax advantage is that you can basically search for both, which is of course easier and can be cheaper for game dev company. We also have the full source code available there compared to like Unity, for instance. We don't have like the upfront fees or licensing costs that are fixed. We have just a revenue share licensing, which is, I believe, quite fair for the game developers. And finally, as I said, we're somewhere between the big engines and the open source engines.
Okay. So if someone is interested in switching from Unity to Flax, what is your opinion? Is it easy? Of course, you have to say it easy, but in reality, is it difficult, or do you keep several principles? Because you also said that you learned Unity, like everyone is learning Unity, right? So yeah, how difficult is it to switch from Flax to Unity to Flax?
So basically, for the Unity and Unreal, it's quite similar because we try to adapt lots of ideas for those engines. It's not like they are bad engines. They are pretty good. There are many great games on Unity. There are many games on Unreal. We try to make something unique in the middle, somewhere that it's in some way similar to Unreal and Unity. And that's why many features of Unreal and Unity are working very similar in Flax. And we are trying to not make anything unique. Like we try to do something that suits developers that already know how to script or use Unity. So from experience we had for the past months, I would say it's very similar for scripting from Unity. Basically, on a daily basis, someone can switch from one engine to another. And for the rest part, content and whole scene workflow, it's pretty much similar. And I wouldn't say it's something that company could invest to learn something new. It's like you can basically swap the engine, and people could very quickly start working on Flax instead of Unity. Also, like there was quite famous quote under one of the videos about Flax that it's like something between Unreal and Unity, and precisely it's like Unreal and Unity had a baby. And we kind of similarly think about it sometimes. It's like something new, something fresh, but also something that learned about its own ancestors. So we really do want to put lots of work into making it similar in many ways, but better.
Okay, so best of both worlds, you would say.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So you already mentioned that you have like a 10K base of users using it, 700 weekly or monthly users. So what are they actually working on? Is it 2D? Is it 3D? Is it XR games? So yeah.
Basically, for the engine, we had to pick and like focus on some parts of the game dev, and we settle up on 3D mostly, because for the 2D games and the XR games or web games, it's a little different, I would say. We have also like fixed resources, so we really put lots of attention to 3D games. And basically that's our key market, and we see lots of production in this area. And I would say like feature wise, we are pretty much complete for the 3D game, and the games are now in production are just 3D games, right? It's our focus right now.
Okay, so the 3D focus is there, but the next question will be, do you support all the platforms that are necessary for 3D? So Windows, Linux, Mac, PlayStation, Android, so.
Yeah, for the consoles/PC, we support all of them: PS4, the Switch console, the Xbox, the new Xbox, and the UVP, the Linux, the Android. Later this year, we plan also to add support for Mac and iOS, and probably PS5 as well. And this will cover us like every major and important game dev platform. So that's also kind of important thing for us, because from our experience, lots of starting engines, especially small engines like our machinery or a Godot have usually just support for Windows and Linux, something like this, just not so much platforms. And for small indie developers, it's pretty hard to port a game to something new when you have a whole engine to run there. So we do want to put lots of attention and continue improving the platform support. So when you have game running on your PC as a developer, you can very easily port it on another platform without losing your crucial time. And that's also like matches our idea of making game development faster.
Okay, so I get a notice that the chat is asking some questions. So Mirko 93RBG is asking, is WebGL a target for the future too? And Pixelwork is also asking, does Flax have WebGL, Metal, DirectX, and Vulkan support?
For the rendering stuff, we do support Vulkan on almost all platforms that are running it. We have DirectX 11, DirectX 12. We have also the PS4 rendering backend and like console dependent. For the Mac and iOS, we plan to do Metal support later this year. And for the WebGL and general targeting for the web, I'm sure we're gonna get there, but probably next year. That's the most possible way. But from the console, also like for the past months and years, we put lots of attention to make engine easily to port, and especially last year when new consoles pop up, we did lots of work in this area. And right now, porting Flax to other consoles and platforms, it's quite straightforward, and I would say pretty nice.
Okay. So you already mentioned that you use a lot of programming languages, right? But which are the main languages you use?
So engine itself is written in C++. In a very native bare metal way. The editor runs on C# almost fully, as it gave us enough flexibility, and it's quite scalable in terms of making UI and tools faster. But for games, we offer also, like I said before, visual scripting, plus the C++ and C#, which is, I believe, very nice combo, and lots of people coming to Flax are really appreciating the ability to write all of those three languages quite seamlessly. For the scripting, we have also a nice feature for hot reloading code in editor, which works pretty nice and like helps teams to work faster, to iterate faster on the games.
Yeah, talking about faster, I mean, everyone who's starting developing games getting stuck at some point. You already mentioned the forum, the discords. Are there any other ways that developers can communicate with you and they can get help? Or are you planning in the future to have, I don't know, tutorials on your YouTube channel or something?
For the learning resources, we have good documentation, which is, I would say, like quite good, especially compared to our resources we have to work on that. And lots of people are really admiring it because it's quite complete, and you have lots of questions and answers there to be used. We have also this forum, the Discord channel, and we do help on GitHub issues where people on our repository page can ask questions or report any problems. We quite actively help there. And also for bigger ones, bigger companies, we have some dedicated paid support as a premium and can be part of the licensing for those.
Okay, so I think we talked a lot about the product right now, and I think right now we need something to see. So we have a trailer that will be displayed right now, and after that we continue our chat, right?
Okay.
We are back on track. Yeah, nice work, I would say. Yeah, we want to go back to the chat question because someone was asking, we had the comparison between Unity and Flax, but right now someone wants to know what about Godot?
Okay, so for the Godot engine, as I said before, we try to do something similar in terms of being open for the community and have very transparent game development, like engine development, sorry. But in terms of user experience from that, I would say Godot is still very good engine for 2D games, for mobile games, and it's been there for quite a while. While Flax tries to reach